I want to welcome everyone to tonight's City Council meeting of January 5th, 2026. May I have a roll call, City Clerk Price?
Yes, Councilperson Medley,
Here.
Bruns, Flynn,
Here.
Morrissey,
Here.
Palladino,
Here.
Soha,
Present.
Stucho,
Here.
Wolfram,
Here.
Mayor Sessions.
Here.
You have 8 present.
Thank you. I did receive an email from Councilman Bruns that he will not be here tonight. Okay, we will go into approval of agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda by City Council? City Manager Mackey.
Under communication, item B, Mr. Ingles will not be here tonight, so that could be.
Okay, thank you. All right, with that said, is there approval of the agenda? Yes.
I'd like to, I was just talking with the manager about this, but I'd like to request the BPU look into these solar projects and how they affect Hillsdale's water quality in particular. I don't know if we want to make that a formal motion or add that as an agenda item, but I don't think there would be much discussion except to recommend that the BPU inquire into that, if that's okay.
Do you want to put it on communications?
We do new business.
New business? All right, new business, letter C. Okay. And so. You want to do the solar project or something else?
Solar, really anything that's transforming the landscape, I suppose. I don't know if the windmills, but anything that's changing the landscape and new industry, new technology that's near our water sources.
Okay.
But yes, the solar field in Fayette is the thing that's bringing this to my attention.
All right, solar field. Okay, so so is there a motion by council to approve the amended agenda?
Well,
All right.
we have to amend it first.
Okay, okay, that's right. Okay,
So
so,
I move to amend the agenda by removing Commissioner England's from communications and adding a solar alternative energy discussion under new business.
all right. Okay, I got a motion to amend the agenda by Councilman Soha, supported by Councilman Morrissey. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, now we will move to, move to amend,
Move to approve the amended agenda.
So, all right, got a motion by Councilman Soha to approve the amended agenda, second by Councilman Flynn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We have an agenda. We will now move on to public comment on agenda items only. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes and state your name and address. Podium is now open.
Jonathan Meckel here, 34 West South Street. Wanted to comment specifically on I know the committee of the whole nights are on the agenda where we discuss road funding to some degree. I wanted to bring back a couple points of clarification. So first of all, do you want to start my timer? I mean, playing nice. First of all, I know it was discussed a little bit. I just don't want you all to labor under the misconception that the road funding that the state passed is going to end in 2030. It scales up until 2030. There's no sunset. So it's a consistent amount that's going to be given to cities, villages, townships, counties, etc. So, but I think my biggest frustration with the committee of the whole meeting when we discussed that, I think the 3.9 million number, I understand that that's sort of what's ideal in order to maintain our roads. In an ideal world, I would be able to replace my furnace, my siding, my roof, my windows, a lot of other things in my house. I think there are very few people in Hillsdale who can afford that kind of ideal repair in their daily lives, in their houses. And I think making that a number to shoot for doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I think what was frustrating, I think Councilman Palladino mentioned this a little bit, is like, what's an actual number that we can reasonably shoot for? What I think we can shoot for is to improve what we currently have and to improve upon the pace that we've currently been at in terms of road repair. What I've looked at and what I presented when we were at the committee of the whole meeting is the amount of road funding that the city of Hillsdale is going to receive exceeds what they've been charging in special assessments. And I presented those numbers then, but on average over the last several years, I think since 2021, Hillsdale's charged under $300,000 a year to residents in special assessments. It's tough to see that number growing because we have the $5,000 cap in the charter. So, and even if we repair twice as many roads every year as we currently are, it's like that's still not going to exceed what we receive out of the neighborhood road fund. So my point that I'm trying to bring to you all is it's a very easy case for me to make, knocking on my neighbor's doors and saying, hey, the city of Hillsdale is about to receive what looks like $400,000 this year, $630,000 next year, amping up to $720,000 by 2030. That's a pretty easy case to make to my neighbors to why are they charging me a special assessment? And there's still room in our budget to continue accelerating the pace of road repair. And I think that's where it gets frustrating to me, just because and again, like I said before, there are a lot of folks in this town that want to see the roads fixed. There are also a lot of folks in this town that want to see their houses fixed. And that's something that I think a lot of us can probably relate to living in the city of Hillsdale. It's like there are a lot of houses in here that are in decaying condition. I think you all talked about this in council to a decent amount. We've got a housing crisis here in our county. Like, how are we going to deal with that? Well, part of that is allowing people more money to go back into their pockets so that they can invest that how they see fit. And when I'm talking to my neighbors, a lot of them want to sign an objection. A lot of them are looking at this and saying, hey, we don't want this. We don't want to have to pay for this. So every single one of these special assessments could end up getting burned down because you guys are sticking your feet in the mud on this. So, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Any more public comment? All right, seeing none, I will close the podium and we'll move into the consent agenda. I have approval of bills, city and BPU claims of December 11th, 2025 of $276,862.48. Payroll of December 18th, 2025, $211,581.56. City Council Committee of the Whole minutes of December 8th, 2025. City Council minutes of December 15th, 2025. Finance minutes of December 15th, 2025. Operation and Governance minutes of December 22, 2025. And Board Review minutes of December 9th, 2025. Is there any council discussion? Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Support. I have a motion by Councilman Morrissey, supported by Councilman Flynn. Any more council discussion? Seeing none, may I have a roll call vote. City Clerk Price.
Yes, Councilperson Flynn,
Yes.
Morrissey,
Yes.
Palladino,
Yes.
Soha,
Yes.
Stuchel,
Yes.
Wolfram,
Yes.
Mayor Sessions.
Yes.
Councilperson Bentley.
Yes.
It's 8-0, it's approved.
All right, thank you. We move into item number 6, communication petition, A, the 2026 Christmas tree recycling program. The recycling program will start on Monday, January 12th. Natural trees only must be placed at the curbside by 7 a.m. Monday, January 12th, 2026. No artificial trees will be accepted. It's just the communication of Christmas tree recycling program. So, all right. With that, now we will introduce an adoption of ordinance public hearing. We'll move to an ordinance amendment rezoning of 244 East Bacon Street. May I call on Olivia Smith, zoning administrator.
Good evening, this is my first council meeting, so I'm not sure if you need me to introduce the agenda item or if you have any questions, but I believe Mr. Gordon is here as well if you have any further questions on the project or scope of what he's hoping to do once this rezoning is approved or passed forward, so we can go from there.
Councilman Flynn.
I would like to hear what he has planned.
Do you wanna bring him forward?
Yes, if you could, please, just to show us what he'd like to do.
Well, I have some documentation here. Thank you, I'm Bob Norton. I appreciate you considering this. The first thing I'd like to do is convert the existing house that's there at 244 East Bacon. It's a gray house. been virtually gutted. It was purchased by a gentleman I believe he worked for the hospital, and then he ended up taking another job in Grand Rapids. The plan is to convert it to a quadplex. It will be 4 freestanding, or 4 connected townhouses, that's the term quadplex. The plans, I have them here, you're welcome to review them. I've shown them to the county building inspectors that had a couple minor comments, but they've even issued a letter saying the project is viable. So it needs to have the zoning approval in order to have that level of density, if you will. You may be familiar with the projects that I've done up on Hillsdale Street, 153 and 157, the blue and yellow house, and then the gray house over on 76 East Fayette. Same architect that we used before, Rob Clark. I've got plans here. Then it's a 3.5 acre parcel at some point in the future. I'd like to see it in the immediate time. My thoughts would be a subdivision, if you will, a condominium development that would be probably duplexes. The working title we have for it is the Glen, so it would be a nice, development there. Not as high end as the school development, but maybe say, medium plus strength. The idea here being workforce housing. It's very needed, as we know, in the area. So this would be a place for somebody who's coming to the college, perhaps to be a professor, see if they get tenure, see if they like the job. Somebody coming to work at the hospital. We also had some interns in the past on my other projects that were for Dow Automotive, some of the other manufacturers, people coming from out of the area. They want a place to live. They want it to be pretty nice quality. These will all be air-conditioned units that will be done to a pretty fine grade.
Thank you.
Thank you. I can leave the plans here if you like. You can have them just to review at your leisure. I'll leave them in the office here.
Any more council comments? Discussion? This Councilman Soha.
Mr. Norton, may I just ask you a question?
Sure. I'm sorry. You
No,
didn't leave too early.
it's okay, thank you. Thanks for taking such an interest in the community and revitalizing so many of these homes. Would you be willing to put into writing that these homes are not going to be sold to the college and taken off the tax rolls?
Yeah, sure. As to the previous properties that the college bought, actually, I had been approached by another businessman in Adrian. I thought my family was going to own them forever. All of the development that I've done, including my home in Jonesville, and I have another house I'm doing in Jonesville, I try to do them to the level where, if nothing else, if I get to be hopefully a quite elderly man, they're going to be easy to maintain, they're built right. But yeah, there was no intentionality there for those to go to the college. A gentleman from Adrian contacted me, met me over at Hunt Club and said, here's the proverbial offer you can't refuse. He said, I think this is about 10% more than they're worth. I showed it to the college, sold them for less money to the college. I worked for the college, but that's how that happened. It wasn't like there was always a scheme that was going to occur. But here, yeah, I don't think this is ideal college housing. In fact, I'm not building it out to be college housing as that housing had been built. This would be built to be, again, the nurse or the doctor or someone who's coming here who wants a pretty nice place to stay. They're going to be up and down townhouses, 2-bedroom. Some of them, one of them is going to be a ranch level. Again, the plans, I can show them to you. So this would be fitting that, and I'd be happy to confirm that if that's a requirement.
I appreciate that, and I didn't think there was anything you did nefarious or ill toward, but the opportunity presented itself. But we've had those 2 beautiful homes. We've had the townhomes right there also be sold to the college and taken off the tax rolls, and I just prefer to avoid that. And if you're willing to put that in writing, I'd appreciate it. I'm going to vote for this either way. I just would.
I'm happy to confirm that. Again, I don't think that's not a problem for me. I'm happy to confirm that.
Councilman Flynn.
Just for clarity, sir, these are not rentals, these will actually be like 4 separate, and then people will purchase, like a condo?
My thought at this time is they would be rentals. What I have traditionally done, I got into the rental business as a sideline in the 1990s in Ann Arbor. All of my rentals there were a little higher quality rentals. I belonged to a group of other landlords there that thought it was kind of funny that I put so much time and effort and money into mine. I wanted to be a good representation of my family name, if you will. So my idea with these would be rentals because like I said, the 4 contiguous units, and the ones I build out, my thoughts are at this time those would also be rentals, so they'll go slowly as there's the means and ability to do that. So, it will be, under the care, the kind of same kind of care and maintenance. If going back to those other properties, I just was over there the other day, they still look good, they're gonna be built in a relatively maintenance-free way to hopefully be a nice positive contribution to the community. That's my goal in doing it. I have properties out of the state that actually make more money. Hillsdale doesn't have the appreciation I get in Tennessee and other places, but this is where I live, this is where I work. These are easy for me to kind of oversee, and I get a little bit of satisfaction out of seeing the community hopefully get a better unit. Nice request.
Any more council questions? Yes, Councilman, or Mayor Pro Tem Palladino.
Thank you. For the staff, will there be any other votes on this? So this will rezone the whole property, which is 3.5 acres. Will there be any other votes before the council for this project?
That's correct, it will rezone the whole property and there would not be, is my understanding.
I don't believe council involvement will happen again until he potentially decides to do a subdivision route, so I don't believe there will be any further council involvement.
Okay, thank you. And then is it legal to write some sort of restrictive deed regarding the transfer of property?
That would be a question from our legal counsel who's not here tonight due to illness. I'm sure Bob could probably comment on that, but that's something I can follow up with Tom and ask.
I'm happy to consider that. Basically, you'd have my word that, at least in my ownership of this, I have no intention of selling to the college. I'm 63 years old. I hope to live and retire here. So for the foreseeable future, I have no intention. I'm happy to confirm that and make that a contractual agreement, if you will, as to myself. If that helps. And it may also be useful for you to know, as to the planning commission, I would need to go back to them for site plan approval before anything like a subdivision. So today you're rezoning it, but nothing happens until they take some further action and it would be brought back before you.
Does council always review site plans?
Well, first it will go to the planning commission
Right.
and then if
Yeah, I don't believe council is involved unless there's the subdivision land division act. You approve any land divisions. If you went the condo route, that might come into play in the future, but at this point, I believe this is the last.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm gonna vote no for that reason, just because it sort of moves the ball in that direction, and I am totally opposed to the creation of any new infrastructure in the city of Hillsdale at this point, and I think we have violated that repeatedly, and it's hard to see how we're creating more roadways at this point. I think we need to create policies that incentivize rebuilding within our current existing layout of the city and infrastructure. As we're seeing more of these empty plots are lining up around the city, and we really need to fill those out and make sure that we can maintain the infrastructure we have.
Is it appropriate that I respond to that? Just to make sure it's clarification, there would be no new road being constructed by the city. This is off the existing vacant street. And any road, if you will, that goes in there would be my responsibility, but right now there's a driveway that goes to the building in question. So just to make that clear.
Right. It would be like Hillsdale Commons or what's the other? Greenwood or Three Meadows.
yeah, it would be a private drive.
Would be a private drive. Okay, so there is the possibility that in the future it will be part of the city's responsibility.
Only if it were built to the city standard.
Okay.
And we would look at that up front, but as Mr. Moore has indicated, that's not the plan, so it would not be.
To not build it to the city standards?
No, it's a private drive is not to the city standard. Our standard is to MDOT standards, and that would be very costly for.
Okay, so there is no chance that this will ever be part of the city's property. It's impossible.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
It'd be like building an apartment complex, and we would take on the drive into the apartment complex.
It seems like when things fall apart around here, the owners find a way to make it the city's problem. And this is nothing to do with you. This is a question for 50 years from now about whether we want to expand and have more of a subdivision-based city, or whether we want city that is primarily through streets. It's partly an aesthetic question too.
If I
Councilman
may,
Stucci.
Yeah, just,
if I may, I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Just basically, this is a parcel that's up the street from Macon. Here, it has been a large lot, if you will, forever. The idea is to try to hopefully create walkable distances for people. That's good for the city center. I happen to be working with the college on the development of 1,100 acres in California. I'm not an expert, but I'm dealing with a lot of other civil engineers and architects and others. And this is the hot thing for development of a rural urban area, is you need people that are gonna buy at the stores, go to the coffee shops, use the pharmacies, and walkability is like the current buzzword. It's either called urbanism or new urbanism. But we have a parcel of land that's got a nice, beautiful woods there because it's been sitting there 100 years and there's nobody who's coming and walking uptown and using the services. So I would think that we would want to have as many people in a population density here that we could, reasonably have the things eventually be on the tax rolls and then increase the density of the city in a reasonable way, rather than say, let's just leave it be, more woods for the next 100 years.
Yes, absolutely, thank you, I appreciate that. Agreed, walkability is the goal. It's the question of whether we want a city of through streets or we want to continue in this direction of subdivisions.
I just want to get clarity in your first statement. You were talking about how you want to see people build out homes, menial home build out. That's what Mr. Norton is doing. But I'm confused by your concern about a potential possibility maybe could be. I don't understand.
Build homes on existing.
Wait a minute, because he's doing exactly what you asked. He's taking an old home and building it out.
That's great.
Yeah.
The first part of the project I'm totally fine with.
But you're upset with or concerned about what could be maybe someday, we don't know.
No, it's not what could be maybe someday. It's the fact that the best type of tax base is one with dense housing on its currently existing infrastructure. The more that we build out the subdivisions, the more that we are going to neglect, potentially, but not always, the existing through streets. Developers always have an incentive, it seems these days, as you probably know, to clear cut new land and to build new infrastructure, rather than simply to rebuild on lots that already exist within the city. And I think we've been seeing that trend the last 4 years that I've been on council, and I would prefer that it doesn't continue.
You're right.
Any more Councilman Soha?
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Norton, is this right next to the Stoll construction, or is it one room out?
No, it immediately abuts, the property's unusual there. There's 252 East Bacon, and I happen to own that as well, and it's a relatively small parcel. 244 goes up and cuts over and abuts the Stoll condominium
Oh, I
development.
see.
So it's 3.5 acres there. And just one further comment is that if any sewers and water lines and all that get put in there, that would be at the expense of myself. That's one of the costs. The initial estimate to do that would be approximately $1 million, let's say. And I would be bearing that expense. It wouldn't be something we put on the city.
So just, Mayor Pro Tem, that piece of property, looking at it here on the map, there's no way to access it other than by through his driveway on East Bacon. That whole 3.5 acres, so we are using the existing infrastructure to build out what is 3.5 acres of dense woods, potentially. But for now, we're getting four units, correct? So,
Right. All my point is that very little of the original city has dead ends. It's not traditional suburban subdivisions. They're through streets, most of them. And I think we should keep it that way rather than expanding out and then having less densely populated areas within the city itself.
Can I say something? Just so we don't get sidetracked, this vote, for his first phase of his project, it needs to be rezoned. That subdivision could be done in the current zoning, so that doesn't affect his first project, that could be done regardless, but this first quadplex needs to be rezoned before we could do that, so just so we don't lose track of what we're actually voting on right now.
Council discussion. Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the ordinance?
Point of order.
Yes.
According to my agenda, are we to have a public hearing on this? Do we have to open up the podium for a public hearing on this?
No, it's just part of that section that could be done, but we did have a public hearing at planning commission, so you're just
Oh,
voting
okay.
on the ordinance amendment.
Just want to make sure we weren't going too fast. With that said, then I would make a motion to approve the ordinance amendment for the rezoning of 244 East Bacon Street.
All right, motion by Councilman Flynn, supported by Councilman Sola. Any more council comments? Seeing none, may I roll call vote, City Clerk Price?
Yes, Councilperson Morrissey,
Yes.
Palladino,
No.
Soha,
Yes.
Stuchel,
Yes.
Wolfram,
Yes.
Mayor Sessions,
Yes.
Councilperson Bentley,
Yes.
and Flynn.
Yes.
7-1, it's approved, that's, ordinance 2601.
Thank you very much. We'll move into ordinance amendment to rezone 350 Hillsdale Street, partial B. Olivia Smith, zoning administrator.
So this is the last kind of step for what has been a long-standing, project here. So, the western half of 350 Hillsdale Street as it currently exists, there was a prospective buyer, to purchase that portion. So they're wanting to rezone it as a condition that was approved by city council in those dates that I outlined and by approved, or proposed by planning commission as well. So we need to rezone that half before it can be purchased. And that's just what we're requesting to finally get this done off of our agenda.
Okay, any council questions? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the ordinance amended? All right, support. I have a motion by Councilman Morrissey, support by Councilman Soha. Any more council discussion? Seeing none, may I have a roll call vote, City Clerk Price?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Palladino,
Yes.
Councilperson Soha,
Yes.
Stuchel,
Yes.
Wolfram,
Yes.
Mayor Sessions,
Yes.
Councilperson Bentley,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
and Morrissey.
Yes.
It's 8-0 approved, and that's ordinance 2602.
Thank you very much. Now we move into, we don't have any old business, new business, 5-year recreation plan and resolution. Michelle Warren, Recreation Director.
Good evening. So at the planning commission that serves as our recreation advisory commission, they've spent a couple meetings of the month reviewing our recreation plan, and they've approved it to move to council. But what this recreation plan does for the city is that it allows us to move forward with possible funding through state and federal levels. There are several other grant projects we can do, but those do require that we do have a 5-year plan in place and approved by our governing body, and then it gets forwarded to the state for final approval.
Councilman Bentley.
I think I was at that meeting. Can you remind me though, it was unanimous by the planning commission?
I was not present for that. Yes, it was.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Flynn.
Yeah, Michelle, just two questions. One, just for clarity, it says 2025 to 2030 edition, but we're 2026. Are these numbers that the state uses for their budget year, or
No, they do not set those for us, we set them.
so are we late?
There is no real deadline. The deadline is for our submittal, and there's an April 1st deadline
Oh,
in order
okay.
for us to apply for any type of grants. But, no, we had a little lapse there. We were going through a lot of changes through city staff, and there were things like that. And so there were other things going on within the planning department that were taking precedence.
Right.
So,
Okay, so this isn't gonna miss anything,
of course not, no,
timeline wise?
no,
Okay.
no.
And secondly, I noticed in different parts of the plan, which is very, very detailed, I appreciate that, but that you talk about neighboring parks that belong to the county and Fayette Township and things like that. Is there a reason our city plan also has to talk about the county parks?
There is, and at one point, we actually had a joint plan with the township, with Hillsdale Township.
Oh, okay.
But because we are, and we only have, 46,000 total within our county, they look for collaboration inside and outside of your jurisdiction. So you leave those possibilities to possibly collaborate and do those types of things. And those score very well on grants.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any more council questions? Okay, seeing, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Seeing none, may I have a motion to adopt the 2025 to 2030 City of Hillsdale Recreation Plan.
So moved.
Support.
All right, motion by Councilman Flynn, supported by Councilman Soha. Any more council discussion? Seeing none, may I have a roll call vote, City Clerk Price?
Yes, Councilperson Soha,
Yes.
Stuchel,
Yes.
Wolfram,
Yes.
Mayor Sessions,
Yes.
Councilperson Bentley,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Morrissey,
Yes.
and Palladino.
Yes.
All right, that's 8-0, that's approved. Resolution 3664.
Okay, we'll move into new business. Item B, City Manager Contract Amendment. City Manager Mackey.
Thank you, Mayor. So as is in the council agenda, attached is an amendment to my existing city manager / BPU director employment contract. About a little less than 3 years remain on that combined contract. The proposed amendment, which was presented to the BPU board, ONG, and the mayor, provides that I would complete the remainder of the combined contract, but it would shorten it by about 3 months to an anniversary date of July 5th, which is the date I was originally hired, so that things line up that way. And then at the conclusion of the 3 years, I would transition out of the city I would, at the end of the 3 years, exit from the city manager role. So this is being requested kind of as a leadership transition for the future, so that council and the public know that my intent is at the end of that period to transition out of the city manager role. I would, or what's being proposed is that the remaining 2 years there would be at the BPU solely as a BPU director, so that I could help get in place the replacement for that to move forward. So with that, that's what this amendment does, is change the end date to July 5th, 28, as being, for being city manager, and setting a 2-year time frame with the potential to continue for 2 years at the BPU. This is, again, a leadership transition. As I work towards my retirement, I would like to, of course, lead the city in the best possible light as possible. We have a number of positions, critical positions, over the next 3 years that we'll be needing to work on. One being the treasurer's position, and probably the finance director as well. So making this presentation or announcement seems to be the right time, so that we all know what we have coming in the future. As we're working on a police chief replacement, which hopefully will be out here by the next several weeks. That being said, also the proposed amendment reduces the annual salary increase for the discretionary 4% to just a fixed 3% that would be split between the BPU and city as is currently done. I'm happy to take any questions, but all the BPU board, the ONG committee, and mayor have reviewed the proposal and are supportive of the amendment's adoption.
Councilman Bentley.
Can you say a few words about how the job hunt is going for the electric and water?
So the water department, we're working with an internal candidate at this time. We're working through his certification process. if that looks like it will go to midsummer for his last certification test. He's tested before, and just not been successful. We're going to go one more shot on that. And then on the replacement on the electric side, we have not pursued that yet. Basically because I'm learning the job that was left to me so that I can train the next person that comes on. And so we'll be looking at that here in the near future.
Currently, what's your week look like? Is it 60-70% BPU?
It's really kind of a hard question to answer because it's based on the duties that are kind of in front of me at that particular time. I guess I haven't necessarily given a thought on what that percent is. The way that it's currently split, so split according to the contract was based on pay was 60% is paid by the BPU, 40% by the city. We've reduced that on the city side because I am spending more time on the BPU side. So I believe it's 80-20 right now because, we do have Mr. Fry picking up extra duties on the city side.
Yeah, I don't know how it's tenable or makes sense that you are doing 4 full-time jobs. So, I'm gonna vote no, but I'm sure it'll pass.
Well, to answer your question about 4 full-time jobs, that's not necessarily the case, Councilman, because I can't do what we're doing on my own. We have a number of staff that have stepped up and are assisting me on the BPU side as well as the city side to make sure that nothing's getting missed. So in effect, we really are, the city is saving money both on the BPU and the city side, and working towards those full-time replacements.
Thank you. No, I think I get that, and I mean, it's just a curmudgeonly no that I'm gonna vote, because I'm of the opinion that if we were a real city council, we would send this to O&G and we would re-examine the whole thing, because it doesn't make any sense to me that we've gone 6 or 8 months and we're going indefinitely longer without those 2 positions being filled, and you're the head of BPU and the head of the city, and everything kind of seems fine, so I don't know what the answer is, but I'm gonna vote no.
Mayor Pro Tem Palladino.
Thank you, Mayor Sessions. We did discuss this at ONG, and I understand that concern, and right, my hobby horse has been, the city needs some one person in charge that you can hold responsible. Now, not only do we have a mayor and a city manager, but the city manager isn't really fully in charge of the city management side of things. So I asked Dave during the meeting, would you consider the possibility of going full-time BPU and water? It seems that's where your passion lies, or at least you're out of the firing line, so that's nice at bare minimum. But just to reiterate, you haven't counted out that possibility. Or, sorry, BPU and electric would be more likely, correct?
Correct, that's what we've discussed before.
Okay. I still think that I'm gonna vote yes on this because it at least gives us direction. I still do think that would be best for the city. If you can handle those jobs in your current state, I think taking them on fully would make sense, and then we have one city manager, or if you wanna hire someone else to be BPU director and electric director and you stay on full-time as city manager, but I do think it is very important that we just have someone who has their eyes on every aspect of the city. That's their full-time consideration. So I see your point, but I will be voting yes on this.
Council discussion. Okay, seeing none, may I have a motion to approve to approve the city manager's amended contract? Support, motion by Councilman Morrissey, supported by Councilman Soha. Any more council discussion? Seeing none, may I have a roll call vote, City Clerk Price?
Yes, Councilperson Stuchel,
Yes.
Wolfram,
Yes.
Mayor Sessions,
Yes.
Councilperson Bentley,
No.
Councilperson Flynn,
Yes.
Morrissey,
Yes.
Palladino,
Yes.
and Soha.
Yes.
7-1, that's approved.
All right, thank you. Now,
If I may, I apologize. Under C, why is that A?
oh,
not
yes,
C?
C. What's that?
Oh, I just was noticing it was AC. The second sentence, this agreement will renew automatically for a second 2-year term. Is that how your contract is currently structured, just to clarify?
Yes.
Okay, and then unless written notice of termination is delivered between the parties, that still means that the BPU can unilaterally terminate you. What is between the parties?
The parties is the city council, so that will be, the city council could vote to give me notice that that second term would not approve.
Okay, so it's not a mutual agreement. Okay, the between the parties,
Okay, so I could say, I'm done.
we can say you're done. Okay, thank you. Sorry for the interruption.
It's okay. All right, now we'll go into new business item C, the solar field. Mayor Pro Tem Palladino.
Yeah, so there's 1,500 acres of solar. This is the second Heartwood project in Fayette Township, I believe. Or is it the third, or maybe they're planning a third? Anyway, they're planning a lot of solar panels. We have a lot of water in this area, a lot of creeks. I've heard that solar panels increase chemical runoff, heavy metal runoff, these sorts of things. I would just like to get the BPU's opinion. And should we have any interaction with Fayette? Do we have any stake in this? Do we need to lobby the state in any way? I would just like them to give us an opinion on those questions, if possible.
Any council discussion? Councilman Flynn.
Thank you, Mayor, and I appreciate that, and I think that with the answers, if we could get just a basic overview of if they know how much water comes from Fayette Township or up that way into the Hillsdale City aquifer that we're pulling water from. This is no different really than what they're doing down in Pioneer, trying to take our water down there, so I would be curious to know if it's a little or if it truly is a major concern, or there's a lot of the water that comes that way. Just if we could get some numbers or just something that says 10%, 50%, whatever.
Yeah, and the question, one of the questions will be, the project is a solar project, so that they wouldn't necessarily be taking the water from.
No, I understand. I
Okay.
understand, but his question about the runoff and things like that, so how much current groundwater in that area flows to Hillsdale and ends up in our wells and things like that? Sorry for the confusion.
Any more council discussion? Councilman Bentley.
Yeah, just point of information for the public, I guess. There was a meeting tonight that had apparently overwhelming opposition up in the Fayette Township building in Jonesville. So they postponed it, and I believe there's one scheduled for a week from today up there. So, yeah, the plan is Hillsdale Street all the way to Jonesville from our city limits almost, I think. And that's all wetlands, which I think vast majority is flowing towards Jonesville and St. Joe that way. But we gotta live with this and drive through it, so it certainly concerns me. It's not our jurisdiction, obviously, but I'm hopeful that the public's voice will be heard against these abominable solar fields that just keep coming. And just so we're all aware, usually what follows is the data centers to suck up all the electricity. So I hope the population is on guard.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Palladino.
Thank you, Mayor Sessions. Just a follow-up on that, I had forgotten it's next week. I don't know if it's possible to get a preliminary opinion in that amount of time, and whether the council should send a letter saying we'd like a few more weeks to investigate. But yeah, it is right up to our, I understand our aquifer is on the northeast side of the city, or the north central side of the city, right? So it's right there. The last thing I forgot to mention is the abatement afterwards. I understand that these contracts have like tear down and cleanup provisions. I would like to know how enforceable these are. I'm worried that after the grants and the public funding dries up, these companies are gonna go under, just like, you know, you see in Hillsdale, like right after NAFTA. All these things are just gone, and they say, well, we had promised to clean it up, but we have no money. And the courts aren't gonna force us to do it because we're bankrupt. So how enforceable are those? How much of a threat is that gonna be in, 25 years? It's a long time, but something to consider. Thank you.
Okay. Any more council discussion? Yes, Councilman Soba.
City manager, do you need something formal from us, like a formal request as a motion, or is just this question?
All right, any more council discussion? Seeing none, we move on to miscellaneous reports, proclamations, none, appointment, library board, Daniel LaRue. I respectfully request the city council's confirmation of my appointment of Daniel LaRue to the Hillsdale Community Library Board. Mr. LaRue is a lifelong Hillsdale resident who was born and raised here and is now raising his family in our community. He has 2 kids who use the Hillsdale Community Library, so he has direct personal stake in the library's continuous success and service to local families. Professionally, Mr. LaRue brings significant experience in public and non-profit governance. He has served on multiple boards, including the Reading Emergency Unit Board, the Hillsdale Community School Board, and the City of Hillsdale Zoning Board of Appeals, where he has demonstrated sound judgment and a strong commitment to public service. Importantly, Mr. LaRue also brings financial expertise to the library board, has previously identified as a need. He holds a business administration degree and currently serves as the finance director for the Hillsdale Community Senior Service Center. I firmly believe Mr. LaRue's lifelong ties to the City of Hillsdale, combined with his professional background, will help ensure the library board remains closely connected to the community it serves and in a strong financial position, so that it will continue to be a resource that brings all Hillsdale residents for years to come. I did receive 2 emails in approval of Mr. LaRue, and I did not receive any opposing. I also did receive from the past person that was on the Hillsdale Library Board this afternoon that he wanted to be considered, but I have already made the request for the appointment. So, Councilman Bentley.
I think we all received at least 4 that questioned this appointment. So I don't know how you missed those today, I guess.
I didn't get it.
There were 4 negative emails at least that I saw. I wonder, you ran against negativity. Are you doing this intentionally to reignite the firestorm around the library? Because that has quieted down. And I don't know the gentleman, but I understand that he's a polarizing figure. So I wonder why you decided to do this. And I guess before you answer, I will also point out that or ask you, it sounds like you did not tell Mr. Keir that he was not being reappointed.
I emailed him back and said that I had already asked for the appointment.
But he found out through other channels.
Well, that was this afternoon. I received that, so.
Well, I mean, the courtesy thing would be to give him a heads up and say it's no longer, the services are no longer needed for whatever reason, which I can't imagine, except that I do remember very clearly that you accused him, as far as I know, without any evidence, of being involved in a dreaded, scary Hillsdale County review that seems to live in everyone's head around here. And I think you owe an apology for that, and now you've added injury to insult. I've always understood that the job we're trying to do when Mayor Pro Tem was the mayor, to encourage citizens to get involved in these various boards and committees. And you've treated Mr. Hamilton and now Mr. Keir, as far as I can tell, abominably. So, and to what end? So he can be the one voice in a 5-person board to reignite the culture wars? I just think it's a terrible pick on your part, and I will be voting no.
Okay. Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Palladino.
Thank you, Mayor Sessions. Yes, I will also be voting no. Actually, similar reasons why some people up here voted no, though these are of minor importance, but, you know, it ran against negativity, talking about turning down the temperature. This guy is reposting stuff that calls me dangerous, fascist, you know, a threat to our community. I don't want to serve next to him. Okay, that's a minor point though. The main thing is I don't trust his judgment. Vulgar Facebook posts repeatedly that shows that I don't want this person to have authority over the library. And he's a nice guy. We've actually chatted several times. We'll probably chat again after this, and I'll tell him you're a nice guy. I'd love to get a beer with you. Don't want you in a position of authority. Right? This is a 70%, nearly 70% Republican city. Those things are heuristics. They're tests. And your first appointment at the library board is the former chairman of the Democratic Party. It's just, and then combining that with Hamilton, I mean, you kick off a business owner, a property taxpayer, someone who has what, 9 children, who 6 or 7 he adopted, for someone who doesn't live in the city, doesn't own a downtown business. You say your primary concern is to make it legal for people who don't live in the city to serve on boards. I mean, what are we doing here? I hope Mr. Hamilton runs for mayor.
Councilman Flynn.
I would just like to state that Mayor Pro Tem Palladino a couple of months ago and the librarian, the last time she was here, requested that we try to find somebody with a financial background to be on the library board. It seems you have done that. So I think that with that said, Dan would fit that.
Thank you. Councilman Bellamy.
To address Councilman Flynn's, our Mayor Pro Tem often just speaks his mind off the cuff. I can't imagine what finance expertise is needed on the library board. So that's.
Well, it wasn't just him, it was the librarian herself as well, so she should know what she needs.
Okay. There's a quote from you during the election, Mr. Mayor. Oh my God. From the Hillsdale interview you did. Sessions said that he would nominate the quote best and most qualified candidates for library board positions and would consider letting the Operations and Governance Standing Committee make a recommendation to the council. According to Sessions, quote, adult books and all that should not be in the children's section. He added that LGBT materials are, quote, more of an adult issue. And the person, if I understand correctly, I don't know this gentleman, I believe he's loudly and publicly on the other side of that issue. So again, it begs the question of your judgment and why you've done this. And it's not just a rhetorical question. I would like you to defend this choice if you.
I did it because financially, he's very qualified financially, and that's what we need as a library. And that was my basis. Also, he was a member of the school. He's a member of the school board. That's what I based this appointment on. And actually, at this time, I'd like to ask Mr. De La Rue to come to the podium and speak.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Yep. Is there any questions, Mr. LaRue? us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, not a problem. I'm currently also the sitting chair of the ZBA. We've been in a meeting together recently, yes. I felt the meeting went very well, very professional too. I like to just say thank you for the consideration. I do have a finance background, which I believe was asked for previously. So here I am, willing to do it.
Could you take a quick second then and explain or let us know what you'd like to see over the next couple of years at our library?
Yeah, I like to see our library grow, hopefully. I know there's grants and things out there for help that we could work on and possibly get. As far as adult books in the children's section, no, I don't believe adult books belong in the children's section. I do believe, though, that you can't just draw a hard line when it comes to LGBTQ books. I do believe, you know, if it's a book, I think it's called Bathe the Cat. It's two fathers that are married, and they have a cat with their son, and they give the cat a bath. I believe that was a book that was mentioned to be removed at one point. I don't think it was, but that one belongs in the children's section, so.
Councilman Bentley.
What's the name of that book again, please?
Bathe the Cat?
Bathe the Cat?
Yes, I believe.
Ouch, and that sounds like it's for 4 or 5 years old. That's not my issue. Forgive me for not remembering that we served together. Again, my issue isn't with your being on the other side of the culture war, which you clearly are, and openly. My issue is with the judgment of the mayor and how he ran for election and seems to be governing against what he was elected on. So, thank you.
No problem.
City Manager.
I just wanted to make clear that Mr. LaRue had his application in for the council committee appointment for the library board for multiple cycles. And when that vacancy came up, he had requested through the city clerk for it to be reconsidered. As the mayor had indicated, the current candidate had not reached the person who's going off the board, did not reach out to either him or I in regards to the appointment. Mayor, given Dan had been recommended in the past and had expressed interest, felt that he would be, that he would be appropriate to move forward. So,
Thank you. No, it's a very political and sensitive topic, and it is the mayor's prerogative to appoint whomever he wants. And I think Mayor Pro Tem did not appoint him. Was that for this library position? So, fair enough. Elections have consequences. Again, I'm just pointing out, this is not how Mayor Sessions ran, and he owes an apology for his original smear against Mr. Keir back in whatever it was, the summertime. And now we have a pattern with Mr. Hamilton and Mr. Keir of citizens being treated with disrespect.
Councilman Mayor Pro Tem Palladino.
Thank you, Mayor Sessions. On Mr. Mackey's point there, I have trouble with that. I mean, first of all, the presumption during my entire time on council has been that renomination and reappointment is automatic, except for occasional, rotation, or someone says they don't want to. When someone is a member of the city in very high standing, that should be it should just be automatic. Second point is, I reached out to all of the candidates whose terms were expiring and said, do you want to be reappointed? Or they reached out to me, or I just knew, yeah, this person's, they're really into it, it's no-brainer reappointment. You should not be waiting on, these people are serving unpaid. They forget about their job for, 29 days a month for the most part, except for a few hours when they're getting ready. We need to be proactively saying, thank you for serving. Are you interested in continuing to serve? Or proactively saying, I'm not going to reappoint you because I want a Democrat on the board, which is that's your prerogative. But just sort of letting people go willy-nilly, the Hamilton thing is really, that's grinding my gears. Thank you.
Councilman Flynn.
Just curious, how long will this appointment be for?
5 years.
5 years? Okay, thank you. I would make a motion then to approve, yep, okay. I'd like to make a motion then that we approve Daniel LaRue to the library board.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, I have a motion or a second by Councilman Wolfram. Any more council discussion? Good, thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Yes, Councilman Soha.
I'd just like to remind council that Mayor Stockford brought Mr. LaRue up and it was soundly defeated a few years ago.
Okay. All right, any more council discussion? Seeing none, may I have a roll call vote, City Clerk Price?
Yes, Councilperson Wolfram.
Yes.
Mayor Sessions.
Yes.
Councilperson Bentley.
No.
Flynn.
Yes.
Morrissey.
No.
Palladino.
No.
Soha.
No.
Stuchel.
No.
So 4-4 fails.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's see. Okay, there is, let's see, nothing other than we'll move into general public comment. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes and state your name and address. Voting is now open.
Good evening, my name is Kimberly Moore. I live at 168 Westwood Drive, I'm in Ward 3. And I just briefly wanted to come and share my experience of living in Hillsdale.
Sorry.
Sorry?
Start.
Oh, you don't have to start that. I am not a native to Michigan or Hillsdale. I am in Southern California. I have 3 adult boys who are men now. 2 in their 20s and 1 is 19. And they were all born in California. Oregon is their childhood home. We moved here in 2019 because I needed to start over. And I needed a place that my kids could afford to have adult lives. And that avoiding Tornado Alley and getting into the finances meant pretty much east of the Mississippi River and pretty far north. And so here we are in Michigan. And I'm pleased to say that we get the motto of Hillsdale, that it's the people. We moved here and we have assimilated as Hillsdalians. We've assimilated as Michiganders. Though I really have a bad attitude about the deer, okay, if I'm honest about that. One of my sons, my oldest, he helped open the Meyer store here in Hillsdale. My middle son currently works for the House Republicans in the state of Michigan, and my youngest is attending Hillsdale College. So we are deeply into Hillsdale. My oldest has also started a sport here in Hillsdale called Town Ball, and the name of the team is the Hillsdale People. So my kids, I'm really pleased that they have done their best to assimilate here and contribute to the community. I'm self-employed as a music teacher, and I don't think I've taught any of your children, but I teach your wife piano. So anyway, I love being here and enjoying that here in Hillsdale. The one thing I want to share with you is I live in a special assessment district with Gary. He's my neighbor. And I think that it's really ironic that SAD is the acronym that can be made from those 3 words. All I will say about that, knowing that you're about to come to a vote, I think regarding South Street and Berry Street area, is I have found that extremely burdensome to carry that. It will cost me over $6,000 by the time I pay the whole thing off with interest. I see it as a loan of my money that's been charged back to me with interest as a constituent in Hillsdale to pave my street. And if I could just say briefly, the thing that's been kind of infuriating for me is the luxury of what's going on at Broad Street. To spend that kind of money on that project after you've charged special assessment districts, I think the priorities are out on that. So anyway, I'm encouraging no more special assessments. So anyway, thank you for your time, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Any more public comment?
Penny Swan, Ward 4. First, I'm greatly disappointed just because Dan Rue is a Democrat and he spoke up for citizens in the county that need a voice at the library, that he was not approved. This is amazing. I guess it says something about the attitude, like Democrats don't have a right to be on a community library board when Democrats pay money to support that library. It's just astounding, and I'm very disappointed in the no votes. My public comment originally was about the simple housekeeping meeting, about rescheduled meetings that are on a holiday. But it's become clear somebody that once ran for mayor hasn't even read his own council rules, despite serving on council for quite some time. I made copies for everybody that Katie has, that she'll be handing out, of the council rules. In the council rules, the first paragraph, regular schedule, states, the council shall meet in a regular session on the first and third Monday. If any regular meeting falls on a legal holiday, that affected meeting shall be held on the next business day. That is not a legal holiday. There's nothing in the rules that says, well, I've had a busy weekend, I don't want to come on Tuesday. The rules are clear. You are obligated to meet the Tuesday after the Monday holiday. You are obligated to meet the first and third Monday unless there isn't enough business, which is the only valid reason to cancel a meeting that happens maybe once a year. You don't get to pick and choose rather what day or what week you want to meet. The council rules make that clear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Evening, Robert Eichler, I'm out in the city of Township, and very much concerned about what happened to Fayette tonight. There was about 200 or so that did come out there. It was the parking lot, everything was full. And so appropriately, I had asked, as well as this morning calling WCSR, if there had been any notices given to most people, and there hasn't been. Again, they showed up, really a big voice. They will challenge that to make it, in a bigger forum in order to accommodate the folks. I guess when it comes to the solar issue, I've looked at a lot of the different places that they have got it. And again, when you talk about taking down our old towers, now we have the 800, why should we pay to take those down? We shouldn't have to. And that means we have the 800 towers, now we're talking about solar, and why don't we get that money put into what we call your abatement plan, or something that say that tax needs to be set aside until such time, either it's a 16-year or a 20-year lease that's being placed out there, that money would be already put in the front for anybody to bond out to have that done. Now, I'm gonna say in my past, we have a company that would put up advertising throughout the entirety of the state if we couldn't get local people to work. and then it would go broadly throughout the United States. With that, it made a difference of what we could employ. And I've been out there watching, I don't know how many that are from Cuba, Mexico, or wherever, and they're making hand over fist money. They are really, looking forward to leaving our country. But I didn't see that astonishingly in what we have to have here in our county, in our state. And I deal with various people on different items and subjects that I think we need to look at, from MDOT to wherever we're at city councils. And I do like to get it into different townships. We need to spread the word though that, this solar is an obstruction to a lot of our lands. And watching how the water is what you were referring to, I think Mr. Pelly, he was. But anyway, how that water does affect us, we do have that monitoring system from the LMI, from where we could place these for the test wells that would keep us, either we have fresh water or we have no water that is, or stagnant, and whatever else is coming in. And that is a computerized system. The county, or I should say, we didn't have the money to put into that, from my understanding from, I believe it was Mr. Leininger that brought that up. But we have the OMI meeting down here in Bryan, Ohio, and I would hope that maybe folks, you can possibly attend or get a hold of the GPS down there. Thank you.
Any more public comment? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the podium and we'll go into city manager report. City manager Mackey.
Mayor, I don't have a formal report this evening. I'll take any questions council might have.
Councilman Belli.
City manager, on the special assessments, can you tell us why we didn't get it today? Broadly speaking, I saw the email, but it's curious. I've been concerned about this for weeks, that we're going to get into the season and not be ready. Sorry. So why the delay? Can you or anyone else characterize more or less the parameters of the district?
Well, you didn't get today because, as the email stated to all the council, there was additional work that was needed for the city engineer to finish that, to present the full projects to the council. He committed, or told me today, because we spoke about it, that he should have everything done here by the end of this week, and anticipates it being on the next, having it so that we can have it on the next agenda. That's the sole reason. It just was more work that, and he is a new engineer and working with Jason through our processes here in town, so it just took a little longer than we had anticipated.
Sure, that's fine. I'm not trying to second guess the engineer, but and I'm not even sure it's his job or his call. Do we know the map? Do we know the extent of Oak and South Street yet? Or if we don't, can we get that as soon as possible by email?
Jason, come on up if you would. Rob is finishing up on Oak Street, correct? That's where he's at.
That is correct. Today we met out in the field. We had some issues with some utility poles, had to get the Board of Public Utilities, as we had to widen some of the roads to meet these standards for major streets, as both these are major streets. So there had been things that came up on it. As far as the exact parcels, we do have maps that we'll include on the next agenda on it, but the Oak Street is from Marion Street intersection, Willow Street intersection to just past Fayette. South Street is from M99 to just the west side of the West Street intersection. And then the Arch Ave Special Assessment District will include Arch Street from Mechanic.
No, thank you. Willow to Fayette and just to the west of West Street.
Yes.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
Again, I don't mean to,
No,
I'm sure the engineer's doing his best.
yeah, Kim's been working on, the actual district that shows the properties in that, and I'll have those available too with our, at the next council meeting.
So it'll have all the information for the parcels as well as the maps and such.
Yeah, okay, perfect, thank you. And I'll withdraw my request that we get the maps, because that seems sufficient. But I guess I will note that we're running out of time to engage the citizens that have petitioned us to reconsider the cap. I guess we're just gonna ignore them and take our chances. What was I gonna say? The map.
If I may, real
Please.
quick. So at the next meeting, we will, produce and, the drawing specifications, and estimates for, in addition to that, we'll ask for a, public hearing a month from that time, so there will be time for that to get through.
Thank you, that's what I was looking for. So the second meeting in February, no
Correct.
sooner than the second meeting
No
in
sooner,
February?
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Palladino.
Thank you, Mayor Sessions. Why stop at Fayette?
So the Fayette was just because of the cost. It does go to a local street after Fayette Street. So that was why we stopped at the, Fayette as we get more funding for major streets.
Okay. It's still pretty bad around that bend there, isn't it?
It's not as bad, it still is about 5 on the Pager scale.
Okay.
So we could probably get in a couple years, do a mill and fill on that instead of a full grow project.
Okay.
I know there was some talk too, that I reached out to the college, to see if they would help on that portion as well.
Okay, that's what I was gonna go to next. It pretty obviously cuts off at a specific institution.
Well, along those lines, I would encourage you to consider going all the way to the academy, because it is rough right to the academy, and then it's pretty decent after the academy.
Yeah, because
So,
a couple years ago, we did a chip seal project just to the north side of the academy, right? Yeah.
So if there's a way to, shoehorn in that extra 200 feet or whatever it is,
Okay.
that'd be my preference, because that's where all the traffic's going, so.
Councilman Sola.
Thank you, Mayor. I would agree with that. I was gonna bring that up. I appreciate you bringing that up. But that stretch from Fayette to the Academy, I know we just chip sealed it, but it's not pleasant to drive.
Okay, we could work with, seeing where we're at, we might have to add that later on that, but we can talk with the engineer to get that to unit pricing and see what that, separate it out and see if it's something that's still viable.
And then the west side of west, that means to the stop sign, on the far side of the five-way stop.
So on the west side, it'll be on the tangent line on the west side of West Street, if you drew that line over, so it'll really be in the pie shape of Reed and Ave, is where I'll stop.
Okay, so you can't do the whole five-way stop there?
No, so for future special assessments we do, we wanted to, instead of get the property owners multiple times for special assessment, we'd rather do it as a one instead of piece rate this time, piece rate this time, and piece rate this time.
I see.
Just have it as one.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions for City Manager Mackey? Seeing none, we'll go into council comments. Council comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've got a couple. Thank you for the 3 speakers, Ms. Moore and Mr. Eichler, and also Penny. Penny, I would just point out that I think it's the second sentence where you pointed out, says the council may vote to postpone or cancel a meeting. So that seems pretty clear to me. Excuse me.
I said that.
What else did I have? I guess never mind. Thank you.
Thanks. Council comment.
I
I make the motion, we adjourns.
Support. Motion by Councilman Flynn to adjourn, support by Councilman Soha. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes, meeting